Welcome to Backyard Cigars. So glad that you could join me today. And we're going to take a closer look at a cigar that was recommended for me to try by, I'm going to get his name right now. It was a person who wrote a note on one of my videos, the one in particular for Toscano, Garibaldi cigars. And his name is Mutankaki1. Mutankaki1. I hope I'm saying it correctly. But he recommended that I try a different type of Toscano cigar. He said, try the Master Age series. He didn't specify whether it was 1, 2, 3, or 4. I was able to grab a number 3. So we're going to take a closer look at that. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about the cigar, and I will share my experience with you. Welcome to Backyard Cigars, a closer look. And this is the Toscano Master Age Series number 3. And it's in this very unique cellophane. Let's see if we can, how we get this off. It's like opening a whiskey bottle. Quite an interesting looking cigar, eh? I would say rustic is an understatement. But this has been aged for a longer period of time than your typical Toscano cigar. And you see there, look at that. Come on, give me some focus. See, there you go. It's not supposed to be a pretty cigar. It's supposed to be a tasty cigar. One that allows you to experience the wonders and just the saturation of smoke that the tobacco has absorbed. And in that, you get a very unique flavor profile. So despite being an Italian company, as they say themselves, the heart and soul of their cigars is American, in that it is a Kentucky filler, and in some cases, Tennessee. See there? I'm going to smoke this cigar as is. I've heard reports that this could smoke for as long as 2 hours. As long as 2 hours. Really. That's interesting, right? That it would smoke that long. But, you know, I find that I'm somewhat of a faster smoker. And I'd like to see if it really does burn for 2 hours. And I'm not going to rush it. I'm just gonna see. Wow. Look at that. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, my friends. Let's go smoke this cigar and talk about what went into it. Normally, I like to do the specs right here. So I will, and then I'll repeat them again. Wrapper, Kentucky, fire-cured tobacco. Filler, Kentucky, fire-cured tobacco. No binder is used here. Those are your specs. 6 1/3 by 40 is the size. The Vitola is Panatela, Lancero. I've even heard Perfecto, but I don't see a Perfecto here. I see something more akin to a stogie, an American stogie. So once again, thank you to Mutankaki1 for recommending this cigar for me to try it. Just give it another touch up here. These cigars, if you leave them sitting down for a second or a minute or two, you might need to retouch or relight. That isn't uncommon and it's not a big deal. Let's go over some of the specs on the Toscano Master H Series number 3. Now, it's number 3 because it is the third installment. I believe they're up to 4. They might be at 4, right? So I'm smoking it the Italian cowboy way, as I was informed. This is the Maremana way of smoking it, which is the way the Italian cowboys smoked it. They'd smoke the whole entire cigar, keep it in their mouth throughout the day, and they would smoke it that way. Cutting it in half, as I've been told, is the amezato way. Amezato. And that's when you cut it in half. So I'm going the cowboy way as I did before. I'm doing it again. I'm a cowboy at heart. 6 1/3 by 40, as I mentioned. Kentucky fire cured tobacco for the wrapper and the filler. And these cigars, if you buy them in a 30 pack, you're going to spend, if you get a good deal, $220, $227 or so. A single cigar can range from $7 to $8. Normally $8, but if you get a little deal, you might get it for $6 or $7. This particular line, the number 3, was released in 2022, and it was different in its own way. Of course, each series presents a different cigar. So let's look at what the company has to say about the Master H Series number 3. And what they're saying is Toscano Master H Series number 3 uses a unique production process managed by a specialized refiner, usually someone with a great deal of blending experience, a great deal of tobacco experience, right? And this refiner basically watches over as the cigar ages and gets that extra maturation. Now, 5 days after the cigar is rolled, they are aged in a specialized maturation cellar where a refiner measures, sets, and continuously monitors the degree of humidification and temperature. The maturation is completed with an additional aging of 360 days. The cigar series for the number 3 uses the entire plant. So they make use of everything. It has a longer fire cured process, and that's what makes it different from the other series. Yeah, like the Toscano Garibaldi, and that was just a leaf that flew past the camera. Never mind that. You get that peppery, woody, smoky flavor up front right away. Medium. Right now it's like a medium in strength, medium body, full flavored, I'd say. Now, Italy grows its own Kentucky seed tobacco, and they use it in some of the Toscano cigars. So it's not as if it's not used. As a matter of fact, I think that the cigar that I originally reviewed, the Toscano Garibaldi, does in fact have some of this Italian Kentucky seed tobacco. This one today is, of course, from the United States, and they've been growing actually the Kentucky seed tobacco in Italy since like 1890. So they've had their run at it as well. Obviously, it's not a huge production of the tobacco, but a decent amount is grown to use in their cigars, in their homegrown cigars, as well as for a big company like Toscano. How's the cigar? How's this Kentucky fire cured cigar? It's good. It's good. I can't complain about it right now. I'm not I'm not tasting anything that I didn't think I was going to taste. And as for the additional maturation and the additional aging, right, and the extra long fire cured process, I'm not getting the extra long fire cured process. I've had this cigar now for almost a year in the humidor. Well, I keep them in a special zip bag. You don't really need to humidify them, but I keep them, 65 in a zip bag with all of the things that I have a little zip bag for anything that contains that Kentucky fire cured tobacco, because that aroma, if you mix that with the rest of your cigars, most of you know what will happen, right? You'll get that marriage of that aroma from the tobacco. Now, I do get a little sweetness as well in this tobacco, and I like that. People here kind of, said we could rush this, right? We could, as we probably do for some of our other cigars. But on this Master Age series, we're going to elongate the process. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see what differences cigar smokers will, pick up on and appreciate, hopefully appreciate. Now, although I'm smoking this cigar the cowboy way, the Italian cowboy way, normally off camera, I'd be chopping it in half. And I feel for myself that I tend to enjoy them more that way. The pull is a little better because if you chop it down the center where it's of a wider ring gauge, where the area where it's a little wider, right, you get more out of the cigar every pull. The draw is better. When you smoke it like this, sometimes, not always, the draw can be a little more conservative than you would like. Again, easily remedied by continuing to snip until you get to that Goldilocks cut where you feel that you're getting enough in your draws. So that's something to take into consideration. For the purpose of the review, though, I'm smoking it this way because I want to treat it like the real cigar that it is. Some people might say, well, that's not a real cigar. Those are the same people that will say Lanceros are irrelevant. They're not. But yeah, you get the band is all the way in the center right here. So, and yeah, one of the things that at least I'm experiencing with this cigar is that you gotta stay smoking this. You can't really allow this to rest for too long, because as I'm talking and I'm not puffing on it, it turns off. But again, that's easily remedied. And I like, there's a sweet almond-like flavor hint that I'm getting. There's the smokiness that combines with that. It's that light woodiness. Not much of the charred, fire-cured smoke that I felt I got more in the Toscano Garibaldi, but some of it, yes. And that could be due to the additional aging, refinement, that somehow, even though the cigar is fire cured for a longer period of time, they're able to kind of calculate how they can mellow that down and not have it become an overly smoky cigar where it just dominates the flavor profile. The aroma on this is pretty good too. I mean, it's a good, decent aroma. I also find that as you smoke it and you get to that thicker part of the cigar, you will also get an increased improvement in the draw. So if you're not crazy about having to keep clipping, don't clip. Just wait till you get to this part of the cigar, and you will see an improvement in the draw. Yeah, soothing, slightly sweet, smoky. I'm gonna let this develop a little. We'll come back. Mm-mm-mm. Boy, am I loving it. When it gets to this part of the ring gauge, I love just how the flavor erupts, the smokiness in the finish, sweetness up front. The mellow tobacco is just very pleasing, as I've said a million times. Well, I'm an hour into the cigar, and this is where I'm at, right? So one could easily say that this could be smoked for another hour, or at the very least another 30 minutes for a fast smoker. But I could see it lasting another hour if I were to smoke it very slowly. So the smoking times on this are probably very accurate. This is going to be an hour and a half minimum, 2 hours max, unless you chop it in half, which is something that you can do. I'm loving it. I am. I can recommend this cigar. I can, the way I recommended the Toscano Garibaldi, I can recommend this cigar. It's definitely more refined than the Toscano Garibaldi. Nothing against the regular Toscano, right? Nothing, because it's a good bargain. It's a lot cheaper. But this cigar is, yeah, I can feel it, that it's a little bit on a higher level. Sometimes you'll get bits of tobacco just because of the way it's constructed, but not a big deal. For those that might say, I don't like a smoky finish, I don't like that in a cigar. I was talking to a fellow cigar smoker, and she said, I'm not fond of the finish on the fire cured tobaccos, but I could see it going very well with a peaty scotch or a refined rum, a really nice rum. Nothing overly sweet, just a nice rum, maybe a Jamaican rum that has some of that funk. So you can pair the funk off with the, smoky flavors that you're getting from this cigar. Food wise, I could see one enjoying this, of course, with barbecue or with smoked meats of any kind. And I could see it pairing well with a Rosh beer. It's a certain style of beer, and that is also kind of smoky. So I think that would work. You could do either or. You could do something similar to the cigar's flavors, or you could do something a little different, a little sweeter. But I think that it would be a good pairing. Absolutely delicious. I don't know why I always do that, but yeah, I love this cigar. I really do. I like it and I love it. It's both. I liked it when I first started it, but now I'm loving it. So we'll come back to sum it all up. I think what I like best about cigars like this, or specifically Toscano cigars, is the versatility factor. The ability to cut it in half and shorten your smoke to the desired length of time that you so please. I think that's a big factor, but the overall bonus is just how good they are, right? The history behind them. I know that Toscano is manufactured in Lucca, Italy. I know that to a lot of American cigar smokers, this is a foreign product, something that they may not be that aware of. Although they're missing the point. A lot of Americana is in this cigar. This historic tobacco is something that helped propel the American tobacco industry when it was in its infancy in the mid to late 1800s, before cigars became a big thing. Okay, before they became a big thing, the big thing was North Carolina snuff tobacco, because everybody was doing snuff tobacco or their pipe. Okay, so it went from pipe, or if I'm correct, no, it went from snuff to pipe to cigar, and then to cigarettes. That is the trend. It's wonderfully blended. I can honestly say that this is a cigar that I am going to purchase again, and that I'm going to get more than one of, because it's just that good. Oh, and by the way, do not think that because it is a small, skinny cigar that it is going to be mild. It is nothing near mild. The nicotine in fire-cured tobacco back in the days was said to be a little bit higher. It was refined, but it was a little bit higher. That's what they said. And that's how, obviously, the addiction part came in. Regardless of how much nicotine was in the tobacco, you were still going to have that addiction from swallowing the smoke. But in cigars, where you don't inhale, over the course of this experience here, I've still felt a little bit of the nicotine. Perhaps it's because of the long smoke, 2-hour smoke, hour and a half smoke of something without a binder. Okay, and you might say, well, if it doesn't have a binder, that's less tobacco on it, right? Yeah, sure, but this is rustic in nature, and it offers these, it can offer these notes of black pepper and build up to a nice medium full. And I'm just saying, it's not a mild cigar, and it's not light in any way just because it's small and skinny. I mean, well, it's a skinny cigar, but Lanceros are skinny too, and you know that some Lanceros are powerful, powerhouses. This would be a lot akin to the stogies that were rolled in Ohio in the late 1800s. So yeah, it's there. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for watching. Until next time on Backyard Cigars.